putting it all into practice. Last week we talked specifically about making the list and about expanding the list and what that would consist of and how to make sure that you never ever would without leads. Because if you're without leads, you're in what we call lead poverty consciousness. And lead poverty consciousness is not a really healthy place to be when you're in a marketing business. We wanted to show you, and I believe I did last week, how to go out in this 10-step training and generate an abundance of leads, not only from your personal network, but an infinite number of leads from the network that you created. That's what we're going to do. Tonight, we are going to discuss step 3 in the 10-step training program here in Renata. So let's move forward with that discussion. It's a continuation of warm market training. And as you know, my personal belief and my experience has always been that the fastest way from start to money in this business is to work with the people that you know, the people that you like, the people that you trust, and the people that like and trust you. Tonight we're going to be discussing how to work that list. The list that you created in step 2, we're going to talk about how to go out there and contact and invite those individuals in a very non-threatening and unoffensive way. See, that's one of the things that is so critically important to your success in this business, is being able to do so in a way that will invoke confidence and goodwill. I think one of the biggest reasons why individuals are so afraid to talk to the people that they know about any opportunity or any product or service that they might have is that they're somehow afraid of damaging the relationship. Well, in Renatus, I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that will foster goodwill and certainly not damage the relationship. Let's talk about it. Let's start with this flow chart. I'm going to map out each and every step of the process before I go into what to say and how to say it. First of all, you need to build a list. You need to build a personal list of your network that consists of somewhere between 200 to 2,000 names, and it ought to be on the higher side, not the lower side. 200 is a bare minimum. But if you've got 200 individuals on there consisting of your friends, your family, your business acquaintances, and individuals that you know, now what you've got to do with that list is you've got to determine what the best approach is going to be. That's right. What's the best approach to be able to speak to these individuals in a very non-threatening and unoffensive and professional way? We have 3 different options. We have one called the front door approach. Front door approach. We have a side door approach, and then we have a back door approach. As I get into sharing examples and dialogue with you, I'll explain what each of those consist of. The next thing is that once we've identified our best approach, now it's time to contact and invite your prospects to actually meet with you either one-on-one or maybe to attend the local Renatus briefing or webinar. Now, when I say one-on-one, I can tell you this from experience, that one-on-ones are the most effective way to actually share this business, but they are not the most efficient. They take a lot of time. If you're dealing with individuals like your best friend, your best bud, somebody that you're close to, you may want to just sit down with them and have breakfast or get together for, at a restaurant, sit down and have some hot chocolate or some coffee, whatever's going to suit your fancy, and spend a little time helping them understand the incredible opportunity that we have here at Renatus. Again, one-on-ones are the most effective way to share the business, but they are not the most efficient. Because you see, efficiency is all a function of time and numbers. Whether you put one person or 50 people on a webinar, whether you put one person or 50 people into an income opportunity presentation, it's the same hour spent, as opposed to meeting with each individual one-on-one. So that's what I mean by that. Now, you got the contact. You know you're going to either use front door, side door, back door. You're ready to approach those individuals. You're going to contact them. Let's say that during that conversation, you run into individuals who are not interested. Now, I will tell you this. No matter how good you are, no matter how professional you are, every once in a while, and it really is the exception, not the rule, but every once in a while you're going to run into somebody who just kind of has an attitude. If you run into one of those individuals that they just sound like they were, baptized in vinegar and raised on a dill pickle, and they just have that kind of crass attitude that is not worthy of your time, here's what I would suggest you do with their contact information. Throw it in the trash so you just aren't tempted to ever call them again. They kind of deny themselves the opportunity. On the other hand, you're going to run into individuals who just say, you know what, timing's not right, just not for me. I appreciate the call, but don't know that I want to go down that road. No problem. You put those individuals on what we call the drip list. Now, that is not a list of drips. That means that over time, what you're going to do is you're going to continue to drip information on those individuals so that you can help them understand how to build the business, or how the business works, I should say, so that they want to become involved with the business. Just simply drip little information on them from time to time, and then re-invite them to a webinar, re-invite them to another event down the road. Maybe they couldn't make it to an opportunity presentation, but in 60 days you got a fantastic intensive taking place in your market. You want to drive them to that event. Again, remember those folks and continue to re-invite them later. Now, you got another group out here. You got a group of interested parties, individuals who say, yeah, I'm curious. I'd like to see what you got going on. That's the group that you will book an appointment with. Of those individuals you book an appointment with, you've got to remember to enter their contact information into CAMS and register for them for the event. Now, let me just give you a little side note here, a little insight into why we created CAMS. CAMS is a system to help you register your guests. So when your guests get to a presentation, they will be checked in properly, and they will be protected to you in the system. Sometimes we have, overexcited individuals who will take prospects that they've never spoken to, never invited to a presentation, and they will input those individuals into CAMS so that they could try to protect them to themselves. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not helping you. It's not helping them. And a lot of times it's actually backfiring. If you enter someone into CAMS and register them for an event, I'm expecting that you have actually had a conversation with that individual and that they have agreed to meet you at the event or attend the webinar. All right, enough on that subject. What happens next? Well, now that you've got them registered in CAMS and they're committed to come to an event, listen, people have very thin memories, sometimes very selective memories. It's important for you to reconfirm the appointment 24 hours before it takes place. Just give them a little call. And giving them a quick outbound phone call is just as simple as saying, hey, listen, this is Bob Snyder. I'm just checking in with you. Wanted to make sure that we are still on for the event tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock at such and such location. I have limited seating, and I want to make sure that you're there. So see you then. I mean, it's a quick conversation, just a brief reminder, and you reconfirm the appointment. It'll help your show-up ratio, and it'll help you to get more folks in front of the information. Now, once in a while when you call to reconfirm the appointment, you will get what I call as a continuance. It's not a no. It's not a change my mind. Many times it's an excuse that says, I can't make it, something came up. We call that a continuance. If you get a continuance, just follow up and re-invite that individual later. Book them to another event and make sure that you follow up with them through the process. Let's say, on the other hand, that the guest actually confirms their appointment. If they confirm their appointment, well, good news for you. You're in the driver's seat, and they're good to go. Now, sometimes even those individuals who say, you can count on me, Buster, 110% commitment, by dang, I give you my word, I keep my word, I will be there. And what you'll find is that out of those individuals who make that kind of commitment, you'll get about a third to a half of them that show up. So just remember, this is a numbers game. But if you've only got one person booked to an event, that means you got a better than not chance of the individuals not showing up for the event. On the other hand, if you've got 10 individuals that are guesting, that are invited and confirmed for the event, well, then you're going to have 3 to 5 guests on average showing up on a regular basis. Now, as you get better, you'll find that your leads get better. As you get better, you'll find that your show-up ratio gets better. You'll notice that, I highlighted J.C. Williams. I mean, he had 13 out of 14 invited show up. That's a 92% attendance record. Gary Lawrence, Dr. Gary Lawrence has always got a really strong attendance record. He had 11 out of 16 for a 68% attendance. But when you're starting out, a third to a half ought to be the number you're shooting for, so just kind of keep that in mind. What do you do with no-shows? Well, you follow up and re-invite them later. You always make contact and renew that acquaintance. Let's say that the guest honors his appointment. They actually show up for the meeting or for the webinar. Hallelujah. What happens if they don't buy? They say, you know what, just not for me, not ready, not now, whatever it might be. Again, you want to schedule a follow-up appointment with these individuals because, trust me, they got on the webinar and sacrificed, some of their valuable time, or they attended a presentation because they're looking for something. They're looking for something. I can tell you, those kinds of guests, I know they came down for a reason. So at the end of the presentation, if they're not ready to go, I'm going to set a follow-up appointment with them, and part of that follow-up is designed to help them understand that whatever they're looking for, we have. And sometimes it's as simple as just asking them, what is it about the opportunity that they were looking for that they didn't see in the presentation? See, if they're not going to buy, if they're putting you off, just ask them. What is it that you came here to see, that you came here that you're looking for that you didn't see in the presentation? And the minute they tell you, good news. Now you can address it. Now you can deal with it. You see, in our business, it's so much about asking good quality questions. And remember this, that if you are asking questions, you are in control. If you are answering questions, you're losing control. Think of good questions that you can ask them so that you can find out what they're feeling and thinking to help move them along in the process. Let's say now that your guest has honored the appointment and that now your guest purchases product and decides to become an independent training affiliate and move forward with the marketing side of the business. Hallelujah, that's good news. You want to schedule a follow-up appointment with those individuals as well. And during that follow-up, you're going to plug them into the ITA training. That means this training, this 10-step training program that we are recording right now, you want to plug them into that training and you want the system to do the work for you. It's called system dependence. You want your brand new trainees to become system dependent, not enroller dependent, which is important as far as time management on your end. The next thing is that you want to assist your ITAs in getting certified and making money. Listen, man, help them out. Plug them into the system. Help them understand how to go out there and make calls. Work the business with them. Assist them in getting certified, and then moving forward to earn income. And you're going to have yourself a nice residual check that will continue to pay you for a very long time as you help them to succeed. Well, you'll notice that in our flow chart here, we have kind of a dead spot. Let's fill that in. Let's say that in this example that the guest only purchases product. In other words, they decide that they don't want to become a marketer. Well, if you've got a guest that purchases product, then you want to follow up and validate their buying decision. See, follow-up is critical in every single aspect of our business. Every step along the way, you ought to be looking to reconnect and follow up with that guest. The way that I put it is really simple. Follow up until they buy or die. And then beyond that, follow up after they buy until they die. Why? Because we want to give good customer service. We want to take care of our prospects and our customers. We want to make sure that they know they're a part of something bigger than themselves, and that Renatus is not just a sales machine. It's a community of like-minded individuals who are all working together to meet common goals. Well, this is the flow chart. Now let's get into what do you say and how do you say it. When you're contacting people that you know, there's a few simple rules that I would encourage you to follow. Some of the simple rules are these. First and foremost, be enthusiastic. Enthusiasm is really the only duplicatable thing that we have in this business that's purely duplicatable. You see, because your enthusiasm produces a certain energy. That energy has a certain frequency that will then work with to transfer and hopefully resonate with the needs of the individual that you're working with. Enthusiasm makes all the difference in the world. The next thing is be respectful. Always be respectful. For instance, find out if it's a good time to talk. Whenever I'm having a conversation with anyone, I always say, did I catch you at a good time? If you got a few minutes for me right now. Because you see, if they're in the middle of something, the last thing I want to do is force a conversation on them, because they will disengage from really connecting and listening to me, because they'll be thinking about where they need to be or what they need to be doing. And if I continue on, they're just going to continue to get irritated with me. I don't want that. Always find out if it's a good time to talk. Then remember this. Part of being professional, part of being respectful is being brief and getting to the point. Don't stretch this thing out. Don't carry on for 20 or 30 minutes in the conversation and then say, well, oh, by the way, the reason for my call is because generally what that'll do is it'll just upset the prospect. They'll feel as though they've been ambushed. You don't want that. Man, get to the point and get to it early. Be brief and get to the point. Remember this too, less is always more. The last thing you want to do is try to give them a complete presentation over the telephone. Don't do it. We've got systems, we've got tools, we've got Renata's Pro Marketing System, we've got all the videos, we've got live presentations, we've got so many different ways to tell the story and to help them really see this business for what it is. All you're going to do is connect with the individual and get a commitment. So remember, less is always more. Go beyond this, you can talk people into the business and out of the business in the same conversation. The 3 C's of contacting will be extremely helpful to you. The 3 C's of contacting are these. Number 1, compliment. A very sincere, well-placed compliment will take you so far with a prospect. Compliment the prospect. Then create curiosity and then get a commitment. Compliment, create curiosity, and then get a commitment. A commitment to watch a webinar, a commitment to watch a video, a commitment to receive information, a commitment to attend a presentation. Whatever the commitment may be for, make sure you get a solid commitment. And it's not a wishy-washy commitment. See, sometimes people will trick you a little bit. They'll say, yeah, I think I can do that, or sure, yeah, send it over. I think I can find time for it, or maybe I can be there. If they give you those kinds of lacking commitments, you need to call them on the carpet and say, listen, you know what? All I'm looking for is a yes or no. If you are interested in learning how to be financially free in the next 5 to 7 years and earn 6 figures in the next 12 months, I need to know, will you attend the presentation or will you watch the video? If they say no, say goodbye. If they say yes, well, then you move them ahead in the process and you're in the driver's seat there. Now, when we talk about determining the best approach, let's begin by explaining what a front door approach is. Front door approach. Front door approach is this. You should use this approach when contacting a prospect who perceives you as equal to or more successful than they are. In other words, this is someone who's got some level of respect or friendly feeling towards you. They like you. They trust you. They feel like you're on equal footing with them. Let me give you an example. If you're contacting someone with a front door approach, the phone rings, ding-a-ling-a-ling, hello. I can say, hey, is this Bruce? Bruce, listen, this is Bob Snyder. Hey, I know I might have just kind of caught you out of the blue. Have you got just a couple of minutes where I could talk to you about something? Excellent. Bruce, let me ask you, if I could show you, and I mean this, from the bottom of my heart, if I could show you a way to be financially free in the next 5 to 7 years and earn 6 figures in the next 12 months, would you want to know how it works? And you want to talk about straightforward, right to the point? Now, generally the prospect is going to go, what in the world are you up to? Well, what have you got going on, or what is it that you're promoting? And at that point, you could say, Bruce, I like you, I trust you, I'm building a team, I've gotten involved in a new business right now, and I'm looking for key individuals to be a part of my team. That's why I called you, is because I know what a superstar you are, and I know how I've always respected your opinion in business. I've got something that will absolutely blow your mind that has a proven track record of success. I can't get into it over the phone. All I need is a commitment. Is that something you're interested in learning about? If it is, then I'll send you a link with a training program that will actually break down for you. It's a 3-part training program put together by a real estate millionaire on how you could be financially free in the next 5 to 7 years and earn 6 figures in the next 12 months. Again, is that something you want to check out? Great. then Bruce, I'll send it over to you, and I'm going to want to give you a little bit of time to go through the training, take down any notes that you've got, and then I want to follow up. So what's a good time for me to follow up with you? And see, you always book a meeting from a meeting, even on a first phone call here. I want a commitment out of the individual, and then I want to be able to move forward with the next time that we can meet. Now, you'll notice that during this approach, I use the 3 C's: compliment, create curiosity, get a commitment. I'm also very upfront and very straightforward with my buddy Bruce. Now, that's just one way of approaching it. If, on the other hand, you're not going to use the Renatus Pro marketing system to pre-screen and pre-qualify this prospect, let's say that maybe what you're doing is you're just simply moving them to an income opportunity presentation that's taking place in your local market. That's fantastic as well. You can call up Bruce and say, hey, Bruce, Bob Snyder, listen, have you got a couple minutes to talk? Excellent. Bruce, I've always had tremendous respect for you. You've been a good friend of mine for a long time, and I've gotten involved in a business that I'm really excited about. I thought about you, and I thought about how well we work together and the kinds of things that I know we could do, to make things work. I am working with a group of investors, individuals who are just flat killing it right now with, the glut of foreclosures that's on the market and the great opportunities to buy real estate. They're tearing it up. I've met people that are making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a single transaction, and I know there's an opportunity for us here. I'd like you to come with me to an orientation so you can see how it works to see whether or not you would like to be a part of my business and be able to then work with me to generate that kind of income on a regular basis. Is that something you'd like to learn about? Great. You get the commitment. The point of the front door approach is simply this. It's just being genuine. It's being upfront. It's giving people enough information that they know they're not being hit up for Amway. It's giving them enough information to know that they're not being hit up for some sort of an MLM, lotions, potions, pill program that they know is going to be difficult to ever build or make money with. It's showing them something uniquely different, it's setting them at ease, and it's creating enough curiosity that will drive them to want to attend. How do you best create curiosity? You share the success stories of the individuals you're working with. You talk about their success. You talk about the deals that are done. You talk about the marketing money that is being made. And those are the kinds of things that will build curiosity and build a stronger interest for your prospect to actually want to attend a presentation or watch a webinar. Let's move right along. Let's talk a little bit about the side door approach. What is the side door approach? Side door approach ought to be used when you're contacting someone who perceives themselves to be better, stronger, or more successful than you. Now, I can tell you this, the perception has absolutely nothing to do with reality, but it has a whole lot to do with them being receptive to your message, because the basic philosophy of this approach is to play you down and to play up to their ego. When you're dealing with individuals who they consider themselves to be in a higher station or have a higher status in life, you got to stroke their ego. Now, this is where it really works well to compliment and create curiosity and then get a commitment. With these individuals, and I'll give you an example, the side door approach is really simple. You're going to ask them for an opinion. So if I were calling Joe, and I'd say, hey, Joe, it's Bob Snyder. How you doing? Joe, have you got a couple of minutes to talk? Excellent. Thank you. Hey, listen, Joe, there's a reason why I'm calling. I have just always been so blown away by the success that you have achieved in life, in business, with everything you've done. I mean, everything you do seems to turn to gold. And I've learned to respect your opinion so much so that right now I'm taking a look at getting involved with a real estate college. And I've met some individuals who are doing some amazing things. They're generating some mind-blowing revenues from quick turn deals and some amazing returns from some of the long-term strategies they have on property. And I believe that it's going to be a good move. But I really would love to get a professional's opinion. What I'm asking is for a favor. Would you be willing to attend a webinar or to go with me to an orientation so that you can get a feel for what this college is all about, what's going on with the market, what these guys are up to, and just give me an opinion as to whether or not this is something you think that I should invest my time into. See, that's what we call a side door approach. Folks, I can't even tell you how many people have enrolled in Renatus over the last year because someone used a side door approach on them. Generally, this approach is used when someone is saying, Mom, Dad, come check this out with me. You know, brother, sister, come check this out with me. Maybe it's mom or dad saying, hey, son, daughter, come check this out with me. Or a friend, you know, come take a look at this with me. It's a great way to get them down to the presentation and to disarm them so that you've got one of our professionals in the front of the room telling the story in such a compelling way that pretty quickly what happens is those individuals who may be a bit skeptical now all of a sudden become our advocates. And if they're not getting involved themselves, many times they will tell you to get involved and endorse the move. Side door approach. Let's talk a little bit about the backdoor approach. Backdoor approach is this. This approach should be used for people that you know are very successful, or maybe you don't know if they're dissatisfied. It's basically a who do you know that would like to make a lot of money approach, and it gives them the opportunity to say, well, what about me, or simply to refer the names of individuals that they believe would be interested. So that's a part of it. Let's give you a couple of quick examples. If you're talking to an individual, you don't know where they're at in life, all you have to do is just say, hey, listen, let's call this individual Julie. If I'm talking to Julie, I can say, Julie, this is Bob Snyder. You know, I'm just catching you out of the blue. I know if you got a couple of minutes. Did I catch you at a good time to talk? Excellent. Well, Julie, you know, I know that you are extremely well connected. It seems like everybody in the world loves you. You've got such a way with people and so forth. So I'm calling to ask you, I've just started a business. This business is doing amazing things for myself and for my family, and I'm looking to expand. I'm looking for individuals who are really hardworking, they're honest, they're coachable, they're teachable, and they don't have issues with money. In other words, if they start, you know, generating $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 a month, they're not going to become irresponsible. They're mature enough to handle that kind of income. Julie, do you know anyone who fits that description? Do you know anyone that would be a good candidate for my business? And what will happen in that moment, more often than not, is Julie will go, well, what about me? And now you've just opened the conversation up for Julie to be invited to a presentation or to get on a webinar. What about me? You know, it's all about who do you know that like to make a lot of money? Who do you know that fits this criteria? Who do you know that would like to enjoy this kind of success? And if they don't say, what about me, many times they will refer you to other individuals that you can build a relationship and now use Julie's name to help kind of bridge the relationship gap and have a conversation with. So referrals come out of this on a regular basis. Now, here's another thing about the backdoor approach. What if you're talking to somebody you don't know and you don't have any history with? Just someone you've just met. Maybe you're sitting on the plane next to them. Maybe you're, you know, sitting at a play or a movie, and you strike up a conversation. You know, you can always say, hey, you know what, I'm just building my business right now. I'm really getting a foothold in this market, and because my business is expanding so rapidly, I'm looking to expand, and I'm looking for good quality people. I'm looking for individuals that are coachable, teachable, hardworking, honest individuals who are not afraid of making a lot of money. Do you know anyone who fits that description? And even a perfect stranger will go, well, what about me? Or what in the world is it? Or what have you got going on? And now it opens up the conversation. You can invite them to take a look at either a webinar or come down to a presentation. Again, less is more. You don't need to stretch out your approach. All you need to do is compliment, create curiosity, and then get a commitment. Now, there's another side to this. What about 3-foot contacting? I've been talking about how do you talk to the people that you know. You see, last week when we got into part 2 of the 10-step training, we really drilled down on making a list, which is all about your contacts, and expanding the list, which is about continuing to make friends and create and build relationships. Expanding the list, 3-foot contacting is a very big part of expanding the list. This approach ought to be used for the people that you meet while you're out and about in the process of living. 3-foot contacting literally means that you're speaking to anyone who is within 3 feet of you. Anyone within 3 feet of you, strike up a conversation and start to chat with those folks about what we've got in Renatus. I don't care if it's standing in the line at the bank. I don't care if it's, at a ball game where you're sitting next to somebody for 3 hours. My goodness, how many times do we go to a football game, baseball game, basketball game? We go to some sporting event. We go to a play. We go to a movie. We go to, a parent-teacher association event. We go to conferences. We go to soccer games with our kids. We go different places all the time. We will be around people for sometimes hours and never even tell them our name or introduce ourselves or extend the hand of fellowship. Folks, you got to get past that because this business is so much about networking and relationships. It's time to extend the hand of fellowship, get to know individuals, and make sure that they know who you are. Now, I will tell you this. When you're out 3-foot contacting, you got to remember something. You are looking to make a friend. You're connecting with people. You're not presenting the business. You're not presenting Renatus. All you're doing is generating leads through connecting with people. So if you're out 3-foot contacting and you meet somebody that you think would be a really good candidate for your business, all you have to do is just say, you know what, there's something about you I like. I mean, you've got an impressive quality. And right now I'm looking to, add some people to my business. I haven't even got a clue whether or not you're looking or you'd be interested in making more money, but if you do, I'd love to, get your contact information and just give you a call a little bit later so I can fill in the details. Then you put it in their court. Many times they'll become a little more inquisitive and maybe ask you a few questions. At that point, you can say, it's not something I really have the time to get into right now, but I will tell you this. I work with a team of real estate investors in the local market that are doing some powerful things and are making money hand over fist. I am building a business in conjunction with their efforts, and I'm looking for people just, like you, that are good with folks, that may be coachable, teachable, and that have got a good work ethic. Do you believe that describes you? Excellent. Well, then, like I said, I haven't got the time to get into it right now, but if you're looking to make a lot of money, I can show you, one business that may just suit your needs. So give me your contact info. I'll call you later, and we'll talk about it then. Whatever it is, again, keep it short, keep it brief, be genuine, be authentic, and build curiosity. If you get into telling them too much about the business, you've killed the curiosity factor. And if you kill the curiosity factor, again, you will talk them into the business and out of the business in the same conversation. All you want to do is make a friend. Just connect with people, make a friend, get their contact information, and then you can introduce them to the business later on. I was the king of 3-foot contacting as the years have gone by in different businesses. I mean, I could get so many leads and talk to so many people from just being out and about in the process of living. I wouldn't care if I went to the grocery store and come back with 2 or 3 leads. If I went to dinner with my wife or with a group of people, I would be able to come back with a number of leads as well. Wherever it was, I just took the opportunity to make darn good and sure that I was meeting and greeting and getting to know the folks that were out around me. And I would encourage you to do the same thing, because if you're effective at 3-foot contacting, you'll never need to worry about leads again, ever. I mean, do you realize that if you just made 3 connections a day, just 3 connections a day, as you were just out and about, whether it's going to or from work or going to and from a real estate deal or just, wherever you might be, 3 connections a day and you got 3 business cards or 3 individuals' contact info a day, you're going to have 90 contacts a month. That's 90 new leads, 90 individuals that you have been able to meet with face-to-face in some capacity, and that you'll now be able to introduce to Renatus and start driving them to income opportunity presentations or to webinars. 90. That's 1,080 a year. 1,080 contacts a year. Do you realize that if individuals will just do that daily, consistent, persistent effort, they could build a business in Renatus that would make their present income pale by comparison? Because in our program, we're paying $1,000 minimum commission on a personal sale. We're paying up to $6,850 on a combo. $6,850 on a combo, a single sale. If you just made 2 combo sales a month, I mean, you know, you're at $13,000, almost $14,000 in income on a monthly basis from 2 combo sales a month. Folks, the beautiful thing about Renatus is our compensation plan makes everything else out there look like a nice try. It really does, because it rewards the worker for doing the work, and you don't have to sell a lot to make a lot. Well, if you're determining the right approach and the best approach, there's one other thing I want to chat with you about, and that is what we call reverse marketing. This approach ought to be used for the people who attempt to sell you their product or service, and success is going to be determined by whose signal is stronger, because I'm here to tell you, if you're not selling, you're being sold. Let me give you a quick example. Individual comes knocking on the door. Now, some of these door-to-door people, whether they're selling bug spray or home security systems or whatever it might be, some of these individuals are pretty sharp folks, and they got a lot of tenacity, and they've overcome the inhibition of going door to door. That's a good quality. So if I open the door and I've got, you know, someone on my doorstep trying to sell me something, you know, I'll give them a minute. I really will. I'll give them a minute to kind of describe what in the world they're up to, and then I'll just look at them and say, you know what, man, I really appreciate you coming by. That's not something that I'm interested in right now, but dang, I'm really impressed with you know, your approach and your professionalism. As it turns out, I'm looking for good people right now like you in my business. Now listen, I understand you're on somebody else's dime and you're working for someone else right now, but if you're interested in making more money, I'd like to talk to you about it. Why don't you give me your business card, and we'll talk a little bit later when you're off the company clock, and we can have a conversation. That's it. Hear them out, politely let them know that you are not interested, you're not looking for what they've got, you're just not in the market for it right now. But then compliment them, create curiosity, and get a commitment by getting their information and a desire to talk to you. Always sell those who are trying to sell you. Always recruit those who are trying to recruit you. Turnabout's fair play, and if your signal's stronger, you're going to be in the driver's seat. Now remember this, it's called the cycle of life. The cycle of life works like this. If you contact an individual while they are in the process of climbing the ladder of success, it really doesn't matter what your opportunity is going to be. They're not going to be interested. Why? Because they're not dissatisfied with where they're at presently. You're looking for hungry, dissatisfied people. Those are the ones that are going to be open-minded and want to embrace what we've got. As the cycle of life continues, they're going to get to a point where climbing the ladder of success is not exactly what they thought it was going to be, and that's when reality starts to settle in. When reality starts to settle in, that's when they become more open-minded and more approachable about opportunity. Now, by the time they start to come around the other side of the cycle of life, that's when they're ready and looking for a change. That's when the company that they're working for is rumored layoffs or downsizing. That's when maybe the individual at the corner office just got canned for no seeming reason at all. That's when all of a sudden uncertainty enters in and dissatisfaction takes over. That's when folks become ready and looking for a change. When you contact them after reality has settled in and they're ready and looking for a change, that prospect is as good as gold. And I like to get individuals before they've lost their job. So this is optimal. Now, here's what happens. What happens next? Well, many of these individuals staying in a position that they're not happy with for very long, eventually they're going to be out of that position or out of that business. And then their back is up against a wall. This is when desperation creeps in. And many times these individuals, they're not looking for an opportunity. They're looking for a job. They're looking for a job and they're looking for a steady paycheck. And if you get them when they are so desperate that that's all they can focus on is getting a steady paycheck, they're probably not going to be good candidates for Renatus. Not always. There's always an exception to the rule because sometimes you get good visionaries out there who see it for what it is, and they're willing to go to work and make the money. But many times that's the case. I like to just time it so that I'm working with individuals when reality starts to settle in, and then they go to ready and looking for a change. And mind you, that this is a cycle. In other words, it cycles around and around and around. If you leave those people alone for long enough where their back is against a wall, they will find an opportunity and they'll go back to climbing the ladder of success. But if you work with them long enough, you stay on them long enough, eventually reality will start to settle in and they'll become dissatisfied and they'll be ready and looking for a change. This business is all about the cycle of life. So remember this, that a no today does not mean a no forever. It doesn't. It just means not now. A no today doesn't mean a no forever. It just means not now. Some of the best people I've ever recruited into different businesses over the years took me 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, some of them even as much as 2 years of just dripping on them, just staying in contact with them, just waiting for the cycle of life to kind of turn around. It's so funny because early on in my career, I got quite a reputation for being, you know, a marketer and recruiter and a successful business builder. And I would have other top earners from different companies call me up. And they would always propose that, well, listen, Bob, are you dealing with anybody in your business, you know, good people that they don't want to get involved in your business, but they might want to get involved in my business? Because if you pass them to me, then I'll take the same folks who don't want to get involved with me and I'll pass them to you. I would always make sure that I correct their expectation. I'd say, listen, I don't know how you build your business. I know what I do in mine. The individuals who may not be interested in my opportunity today, they will be sometime in the future. And my attitude is, I'm going to get them. I don't care when it is. I'm not sure when it will be or where it will be, but I can tell you this. I'm going to stay on them, and when the timing is right and they're dissatisfied with where they're at, I'm going to show them an opportunity that makes whatever you've got, I mean, pale by comparison, so they see what I am offering clearly enough to get involved. I'm going to get them. So no thanks for the offer, but that's not the way I build my business. And it's not. I know that a no today does not mean a no forever. It just means not now. And that's why you've got to stay in contact with your leads. That's why you've got to continue to build on the relationship and get to know folks and stay with individuals, because eventually the timing will be right. And when that window of opportunity opens up, you want to be there with Renatus so that they're ready to dive in, both feet, and really build this thing like there's no tomorrow. Well, folks, I want to thank you for the time that you spent with me tonight on the webinar. Hopefully the time that we have spent has been instructional. This is the third part of the 10-step training program. Next week we go to step 4. Come join me. I'm going to show you what to do and how to do it. So again, you can be successful as a marketer and as a business builder in Renatus. I look forward to seeing you then. Till then, good night, good luck, God bless. Bye-bye now.